What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. Today I'm going to show you 7 really easy things that you can do to save money each month without even trying or putting any effort in at all. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe down below and let's get into the video. Okay, number 1, partitioning your money. What this means is basically splitting up all of your money into separate bank accounts. Most of us already have a current account and a savings account, but this idea takes it a step further. So what it does is it creates a psychological barrier between you and most of your money. And this allows you to save without even trying. From my experience, we tend to spend based on what's in the bank account that we use on a day-to-day basis. So no matter how much you're getting paid each month, if it's 10,000 or 1,000, you'll likely come close to spending all of that within each month. So instead, I recommend partitioning your money. So as soon as you get paid, split up all of that money into separate accounts. So firstly, things that you'll be using every month. So that would be like paying rent, mortgage, fuel, car payments, and all those kind of monthly bills that you need to pay for. And as well as that, create a series of accounts that are more for things that you're trying to save for. So that could be a deposit for a house, a car, a holiday, and just general savings. So by splitting up all of your money into these categories, so what this will do is create the illusion that you have less money because you have less in the account that you're using on a day-to-day basis. So because you have less in that account, you'll be more careful with what you spend your money on, and you'll end up saving a lot of money without even trying. To help with this method, I really recommend using a mobile banking service. There are many available, but my personal favourite is Monzo, so I'll leave a link down below. So Monzo is just as safe as a regular high street bank. It's free to use and set up, and it allows you to partition your money within the one account. So they call them pots. You create pots for different things that you want to save for. So rather than having to open a ton of different high street bank accounts, so you can just have the one Monzo account with all the pots separated. Okay, number 2, switching up your utility provider. More often than not, you'll be paying more for your utilities than you need to be. So this applies to electric bills, gas bills, car insurance, house insurance, so all of those types of things. To check if you could be getting a better deal, simply head on to one of the price comparison websites. So if that's Money Supermarket or Compare the Market. If you've never done this before or don't do it very often, and you'll probably see that you could be getting a much better deal than you're currently on. You might even find that you'll be able to get a much cheaper price with additional perks as well. So once you've found a better deal, you can either switch straight to that other provider that you found, or you can use these deals you've found to leverage the company you're currently with to engineer yourself a much better deal with them and save yourself the hassle of actually having to switch altogether. But either way, you'll be able to save yourself a lot of money. Number 3. Reevaluate your pay monthly services. There are a lot of pay monthly services out there which are genuinely worth having, and they offer really good services. However, it happens to all of us that we sign up for all these services and end up not using them as much as we thought we might, for one reason or another. So this could be a gym membership, a music and video streaming service, or something else entirely. So for example, say you've got yourself a gym membership in the winter to try and stay active. But now summer's come around and you've got really interested in another form of exercise that requires you not to actually have to go to the gym that you're paying a membership for. So if you're not using the gym membership, why continue to pay for it? With all these services, you can pretty much renew them at a later date if you decide that you do want to get back involved with one of them. However, there's no point paying for something you're not using at that moment in time. So I recommend every 2 months you reevaluate all these pay monthly services that you're using and just see if you are using them as much as you thought you might. The chances are you'll be able to cancel a few of them and then save yourself a lot of money, and you can always resubscribe whenever you want. Number 4, wait before you buy. We all get sucked in by either marketing campaigns or celebrities telling us that we want to buy a product. Rather than buying it straight away as soon as you see it, just wait. So either sleep on it, wait a week, wait a month, doesn't really matter. You may have thought that you wouldn't be able to live without it, but actually, the chances are you'll find out that you don't really need it as much as you thought you did, or you just don't even want it anymore. And by doing this, you'll have saved yourself a decent amount of money by just taking that extra bit of time. Number 5, do a bit of research on the things that you want to buy. So taking this on from the last point, you found something that you really want and you genuinely think that it will benefit your life. So rather than buying that product that you saw advertised, do a little bit of research and see what other products are available in the same market. Most likely you'll find a ton of different products that are a lot cheaper and varying in quality. But then just take the time to read through some reviews on Amazon, look at some comparison websites, look up videos on YouTube of unboxings, comparisons of different products, because there are a lot out there. And then quite often you'll realise that you didn't need that top of the range one that you saw on TV. And rather paying that high price for the market leader with all the marketing budget, you could find something of a pretty similar quality for a much better price. So let's use me as an example. So earlier in the year, I decided I wanted to get some noise cancelling headphones. And instantly when you say noise cancelling headphones, you think Bose. So these are around £200 to £300. So I was prepared to go and buy them, but I just decided to do a little bit of research into what else is out there. I found a ton of different products out there that are really good quality, but a fraction of the price. Now I'm not saying that Bose products aren't great, because they are. However, you're paying a lot of money to have that brand and to pay the costs of their ginormous marketing budget. Supposedly Bose spend $150 million every year on marketing alone. So what I did, I looked up a few comparison videos on YouTube to see what was out there at a cheaper price, and I found these. Now they're not as good as the Bose ones, that's for sure, but for me, because I'm not going to be using them as much as other people might, it's not worth me spending that £200 to £300, and instead I could spend £60 and get these, which are perfectly good for my needs. So by simply doing a bit of research into what else is out there, I saved myself about £200. Right, number 6. Finance your car through a bank loan rather than through the dealership. So when you're buying a new car, you quite often go to the dealership, either get a new car or a used car, but a lot of people like to buy through a dealership. Now because most of us can't afford to buy in cash, we end up using their financing service, which is called a PCP. So you basically pay an upfront deposit, and then between 2 to 4 years normally, you'll pay smaller instalments monthly for that car. And then at the end, if you want to fully own that car, you can pay another lump sum at the end. Now the dealerships don't give you this service for free because you're borrowing money from them, and some of them charge up to 10% interest for this service. So an alternative to do this is take out a bank loan instead. At the moment, interest rates for borrowing are very low in the UK, and depending on your credit rating, you might be able to borrow at 2.9%. So what you'll then essentially do is borrow the money from the bank and then pay for that car in cash with that loan. And then you'll simply be paying back that loan each month rather than paying the financing. So in this example, I've looked at a VW Golf, a very popular car in the UK. It's priced at £17,290. If I was to finance that car for 3 years through Volkswagen, I'd be paying £3,346 more than the car is actually worth at the end of that 3 years. Instead, by taking a loan out from M&S Bank, I'd be able to save £2,562 for that same 3-year loan. Now that's a lot of money. To see what you're eligible for, I recommend going on to Money Saving Expert, as it has all of the options outlined for you. Now just bear in mind, you might not be able to get that 2.9% based on your credit rating, but you'll probably be able to get something a lot better than the financing service through the dealership. And finally, number 7, don't live beyond your means. So this one's a bit more complex, but it's also incredibly simple. It's just the idea that you don't buy things that aren't really within your budget. So for example, if I'm earning £20,000 a year, I shouldn't really be going and financing a £20,000 car, or I shouldn't be wearing a £10,000 watch. These types of products haven't really been designed for people on my salary, and there are much cheaper alternatives out there that offer similar quality. So it'd be much better to save that money, invest it, and find a much cheaper alternative. And you generally don't want to have things that you can't afford to replace. So take this watch for example. It has a fully automatic mechanical movement, just like Rolex has. However, it's 2% of the price. If for some reason it did get stolen, I could afford to replace it. Now this is much easier said than done, and there's always an exception. So if you feel like spending more money on something that you think you'll genuinely get pleasure out of, then I think it's worth it. But it's always good to take that extra bit of time to consider how much you will actually value it. So for example, I'm not a millionaire, but I do love to go skiing. Now skiing is not a cheap activity or holiday, but as it is one of my priorities to be able to go skiing every year, because I get so much pleasure out of it, I make sure to budget so that I can afford to go every year. So to do this, I save money on other things that are less important to me. Right, and that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed the video or you feel you learned something, please drop a like, I'd really appreciate it. And make sure that you hit that subscribe button. And I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you agree with me? Am I talking rubbish? Right, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.